Hello there, Team Gerwell. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're talking about Topic 9, Lesson 9. And today's learning target is I can solve problems involving addition and subtraction of fractions. Remember, we've talked about a common denominator. That's something you have to have anytime you add or subtract fractions, and that is a common multiple of two denominators. I have now shown you three different wonderful ways that you can go through and do this. You can either do a table and find the least common multiple, you can do the cake, or you can do the butterfly. Whichever one works for you is the one that you should do. So here's our problem of the day. After eating some for lunch, Mrs. G had 9/10 of a pizza left to share with Gage and Julia. Gage ate 2/3 of it, and Julia ate 1/5 of it. So how much of it is left? Well, the first thing we need to do is underline the question. The question here is how much pizza is left? So after Gage and Julia ate their pizza, how much was left? So the important information was that Mrs. G had 9/10 of a pizza left to share before Gage and Julia had any of it. So we know Gage ate 2/3 of it and Julia ate 1/5 of it. So how can we write an equation to represent this problem? Well, in this case, we would know that we would first have to find out how much Gage and Julia ate. So we would first need to know what is 2/3 plus 1/5. That's why we put that in parentheses, because we have to know how much they ate first before we know how much to subtract from what I had left over. So 9/10 was how much of the pizza was left after I had my lunch. Then we're going to subtract the sum of what Julia and Gage ate. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is 2/3 plus 1/5. So we can do the butterfly method here, and we are going to know that 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 5 is 15. So our new fractions are 10/15 plus 3/15, which equals 13/15. So Gage and Julia ate 13/15 of the pizza. Are we done? No, we just did the part inside the parentheses. Now we need to take 13/15 away from 9/10. So that's a subtraction problem. So we have 9/10 minus 13/15. So here I'm going to use a different strategy, and I'm going to use the table. So I listed out my multiples of 10 and I listed out my multiples of 15, and I'm going to look for the least common multiple. Well, in this case it's going to be 30. So we're going to change the denominator up here and here to a 30. But then we have to also rewrite the numerator, the number on top. And remember, whatever we do for the denominator, we have to do for the numerator too. So what did we do to the 10 to get 30? Well, we multiplied it by 3. So we're going to do the same thing to the top, or the numerator, and 9 times 3 is 27. So now we need to come over to this fraction and think, what did we do to 15 to get 30? Well, we multiplied by 2, so we're going to do the same thing for the numerator, and that answer is 26/30. So our new subtraction problem now is 27/30 minus 26/30, and that equals 1/30. So there's 1/30 of a pizza left over. That is a very, very small slice. So here are tonight's practice problems. You need to remember to find the least common denominator and then add or subtract. Remember, PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, says we do the things in the parentheses first. And then remember to simplify if necessary. Remember, you're going to need to find the least common denominator when you do the problem inside the parentheses, and then find another one when you end up solving the rest of the problem. Go back and watch the video again if you need to do that. And remember, you can use any strategy I've taught you to find that least common denominator, whether it's the wedding cake, the butterfly, or the good old-fashioned tables. It's up to you. Now go ahead and stop the video, do these problems, and then come back for the answers. Okay, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here are your answers for tonight. The answer to number 1 is 11/24. The answer to number 2 is 1/3. The answer to number 3 is 3/16. And the answer to number 4 is 11/12. Now make sure you've checked your work and you write how many you got correct out of 4, because we only had 4 problems tonight. Be honest, it's not for a grade. Honestly, fill out that self-reflection. I know this is a little bit harder than what we've been doing, but do you think you get it? Could you teach a friend, or are you still confused? And then, of course, fill in the space below for any questions you might still have. I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you in math tomorrow. Bye-bye.